right.
Makes it real bulky.
All right, here we go, guys. All right,
regards to accommodations and activities. I know they're looking forward to playing tomorrow. Get a chance to see this stadium for the first time. These guys are going over here in a minute. It's impressive. First class, top-notch stadium. It gets a really good opponent. Got a bunch of respect for these guys. Said it earlier in the week, but congratulations, Coach Anderson, winning conference championship in the conference. They did really, really well against the Pac-12 this year, winning multiple games, and so we know we got our hands full there. Our guys will be looking forward to it. They're definitely excited about playing again tomorrow.
I'm assuming I'm next.
yes.
Just appreciate all the folks that make this week possible. Been to several ball games in my career, and you can tell that a lot of thought and energy has been put into making this a first-class event. From something like the Jimmy Kimmel Show and his name being attached to it, to the stadium here being maybe the I don't know, this may be what everybody else is looking at, what the stadium's going to look like in the future. Breathtaking to say the least. To Universal Studios yesterday. Team, staff, families have had a great time and have really enjoyed all that the bowl committee and folks have put together. So we're at the point now where it's down to trying to rein all that in and get ready to play, which is a challenge in itself. But excited about the challenge that we have ahead of us with Oregon State and Coach Smith and his group. We know just watching them on film that it's going to take our best game to be able to compete and play the way we want to. But I do believe our guys are excited about it and have enjoyed it, but ready to also take the next step and go out and play a game and compete tomorrow in this stadium.
For your questions, please line up on the sides and ask them in the microphone.
Hello, men. Cam Buford, LA News Observer. Question for the both of you guys. How have you guys balanced preparing your team for the game tomorrow and then enjoying the festivities of this week? How is that process going? And then share a story of somebody getting out of hand, if you will.
Well, we did talk about it earlier before we took off. As a team, these are good distractions to have. So how we handle that, you recognize that there's some good distractions that are going to take place during a bowl game. You know, the ultimate part of going to a bowl game though is playing well enough to have a chance to win. And so we tried to balance it. Mornings, a lot of practice, locked in on training, things of that nature, and then in the afternoon and evening, had some good distractions. So I think these guys have handled it well. We're going to find out tomorrow.
Yeah, I think the hardest thing is just being able to lock in when you have to. There's so many things going on, but you find out just how mature a football team is and what your leadership on the interior of your team looks like. You want those guys to be able to enjoy the week. I mean, they've earned it. They're here because they've earned it. A lot of hard work, well over 330 or some odd days to prepare for this one opportunity and to get to this opportunity. So you, as a head coach and as a staff, you just balance it best you can. Remind them again that we're here for business, but take advantage of the opportunities. I think our guys have done that. In terms of somebody getting out of hand, I think the worst thing we've had is a walk-on D lineman that had to chase down the buses this morning because he almost got left. That's about as crazy as it's been. A lot of traffic, newfound respect for traffic. It does not look like in Logan, if it looks like in LA. It's been a good week. Like I said, all the events have been good. The kids are excited and have really enjoyed it. And I think very appreciative of the opportunity and what the bowl committee and the people here have done in terms of the events and the locations and that sort of thing. So it's been fun.
Shadow with 24/7 Fever Blitz. How, both of you didn't have the full 3 weeks of bowl prep, or 2.5 weeks of bowl prep. Did you use this more as a just game-focused week, or did you use this as a time to kind of give those young guys more time?
Yeah, there's no question it was a condensed schedule, especially with the recruiting in. I mean, these guys played an additional game, and so a lot of focus went into recruiting, and that took away from kind of developmental practices. We mixed in just a couple, but pretty quickly turned into preparing for it.
With our schedule, with the extra game, which is obviously a good problem to have, to be playing for a title, and then really our staff had 1 week to recruit. as beat up as we were, the last couple games were extremely physical down the stretch, had not had an open week in a while. We spent 1 week trying to get healthy and recruit, and really took this week as just a normal game prep to try to prepare for the games. It's the old days, I think, of the long ball schedule with a bunch of extra practice just doesn't fit. And that's really the only downside of playing early. That may be the only downside at all that I can think of playing early.
Coach Smith, this is a homecoming for you. You grew up in Pasadena and Glendora. Those two cities have a little something to do with your life. Can you talk about coming home?
Yeah, obviously, added benefit of being close to home, born in Pasadena, Glendora High School, a lot of families and friends and good memories and whatnot, and grew up, following college football and bowl games, and so the chance to be participating and involved in something close to home like this is pretty good.
Jonathan, caught up with your old offensive coordinator at Glendora today, Rod Tilton. You told me you used to call your own plays sometimes, take over a little bit. Is that true? And just how did your time at Glendora shape you into the coach you are today?
Be careful how you answer
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Just saying.
Just if our quarterback's listening to the same thing, yeah. Had great experiences at Glendora, Coach Tilton, on occasion, mixed in an idea toward him that got and he did introduce me a lot of those coaches. I knew it at that point when I was playing high school football that I wanted to be a coach, and some of that was because of the impact they made on my life and the strategy of it. And so kind of got my start there, and then obviously got into the profession, played a little bit college ball and around some big time coaches that I'm living my dream now.
Coach Smith, has coming back to a bowl game been maybe bringing back any memories from your time as a Beaver player? Have you been able to kind of share any of those experiences with your guys?
Well, getting to a bowl game for the place is special. I hadn't been there in whatever it's been, 7-8 years, so that's similar to my experience as a player. We got to my sophomore year getting back to a bowl game, first time in 27 years, quite a bit longer. We got a few coaches on staff that were a part of that, and so we did. We shared some lessons learned, experiences, but also lessons to be learned, mistakes made, because we didn't win that bowl game our sophomore year. And, so it's a special time to be a part of it, not just for our players, families, program, the university itself.
Yeah, Earl Heath, Beverly Hills Sheep Magazine. For both coaches, how have you, since being in the area, how have you handled the recruiting in Southern California and Los Angeles area?
It's definitely in both of our footprints, and if you're going to play in the Mountain West and Pac-12, you're going to have to recruit well here. I'm fortunate to have a couple guys who know the area very, very well. Have some past players that coach in the area, and I think relationships and a lot of hard work. Those are the two things that make recruiting work. And then, when they get to your campus, they see a level of commitment that you have, and we're fortunate to have all those things in place. So we definitely have a presence here. Playing the championship game here a week ago, being back definitely does not hurt for a lot of eyes to see us and see the logo. So I'd like to think it's going to just continue to help us build our footprint and get established here in a way that we know we can come in each year.
Yeah, Southern California is huge for our recruiting classes each year. There's a bunch of players down here, some quality football getting played, and so having a presence down here through the month of December, talking about it and recognizing that winning a couple games, getting to a bowl game and playing in this big time place, I think that's only a benefit as we're chasing. There's good players down here that we're chasing.
So I'm gonna kind of piggyback onto that. Oregon State, I know, has a ton of players from Southern California. Are you expecting a huge family and friend? And then also any recruits or signees going to get the game?
Yeah, we got a lot of players from the area, and we're counting on the families coming to the game tomorrow, but hopefully they've been around throughout the week, seeing them at the hotel, and that's a beautiful thing. We have had a couple of signees at practice, the ones that we did sign on Wednesday because they're local here, and so adds to the benefits of playing down here.
KBC Los Angeles. For both coaches, with the current increases of the COVID cases around the country, how's that affecting your locker rooms, and what are you doing to prepare for the unexpected?
Well, for us, it's definitely been a change getting back to wearing masks again. Not something that has been Kind of our day-to-day in Utah for quite a while. I hear the guys talking about it. We had to continue to remind everybody. It becomes a habit of not wearing them. Now we're getting back into it. Majority of our team and staff are all vaccinated, so we did take that step. But just the day-to-day of getting back into space and masks and those sorts of things, it takes some time. I hope we've gotten better at it as the week goes along. But other than that, we've tried to stay as focused as we can as well. I'm doing the job and doing it as safely as we possibly can.
Very similar answer in regards to majority vaccinated on team and staff. Protocols are in place, and we try to follow those as close as we can, from bus rides, hotels, elevators, things of that nature. So far, so good in regards to it hasn't overly affected anyone available to play.
Coach Anderson, Jake Nielsen, Cal Statesman. I have to ask you real quick in regards to the reporting published by the Salt Lake Tribune.
Mm-hmm.
You released a statement regarding that, so I'll ask you, has that been a distraction for you at all? And kind of what's your headspace at today regarding all that?
It hadn't been a distraction necessarily. Definitely a topic of conversation, made sure the team kind of knew what was going on. I think just tried to do the best we could. We're always transparent. I don't keep things from our guys. We close the door and I'm very open with them. I think they felt some frustration in the sense that that came from a meeting that we had during fall camp to try to help them be better, try to help them be the best they could be. So, but I let them know that the administration, myself, we deal with it. Didn't want them to have to worry about it. Want them to be able to focus on the week, enjoy the week, not let it overshadow the week. And I think they've done a good job of moving past that.
Coach Smith, Saturday's game will be the last game for the season, regardless of the result. Is that added emphasis for these guys to play hard? I mean, I know every week they want to give it their all, but this is it, especially for Andre, Trevon, Jaden.
Yeah, we definitely want to finish well, send those guys off the right way. I think it's for every program. A lot of programs have seniors playing on the last game. We want to finish well for those guys. That group you mentioned has been really special. The last 3-4 years that we've been here, worked really hard, overcome a lot. And so, yeah, we always would need something to send them out with a win.
Coach Smith, you mentioned that the Mountain West has won several games against Pac-12. Do you see an improvement in teams that are outside in the West, outside of Pac-12, or is that due to the decline in Pac-12?
Oh, I see improvement without question. You look at the Mountain West from top to bottom, improving the athletes. I think the coaching that's taking place in that league is top notch. And so, yeah, on the West Coast, I think there's big time coaches for Pac-12 players as well, which is competitive, which is a good thing. I think there's really good football being played on this side of the country.
Coach Anderson, I want to ask you specifically, I think there's 11 players on this team that were seniors at Utah State last year and decided to return for the freshman year eligibility. For Nate Benson, we can go down the list, but can you just take a moment to talk about those guys and kind of the leadership they've had on the team that get y'all to this point?
Yeah, that's an easy one to answer. When you look at how the last couple of years have gone for that group, some of those guys that had even put their name in the portal and decided that they were going to look for something else, and then knowing that I took the job in December, took time to get to know us, listen to us, and really just kind of look at our vision for the future, and they decided to stay. They decided to stay or even come back in some cases to give us a chance. People make a lot about the transfers that we brought in, and all those guys have made impacts, and obviously we won a championship because of a lot of the work that those guys have done, but I don't believe that the guys that were there already in the locker room that chose to stay and trust and buy into what we were asking them to do, I don't think they get enough credit. I think that's the group that honestly is the glue that held this thing together. Brought in new staff, new schemes, brought in some transfers to fill key positions, but the bulk of the leadership and the sacrifice and really the buy-in came from that group of guys. And they're the reason that we're sitting here 10-3 and have a title and are playing this game against Oregon State. So beyond proud, have built some unbelievable relationships with those guys, love them to death, would fight for them and die for them any way I had to. And I think you see that on the field. You see the team that group has allowed us to have.
Kind of both of you actually, because you're in a unique situation where you both took over players coached by the same coach. So Gary Anderson with Oregon State, And Coach Smith, I know when you showed up, where did things at a really low point, culture-wise, team-wise? Can you just talk about where they've come as far as that, and maybe for you too, Coach Mason?
Yeah, I think that anytime you come to a new program where there's different coaches there before, you really just try to establish some trust and learn their stories. Majority of that roster at that time, 4 years ago, we weren't able to kind of sit in their homes and recruit them and get to know them that well. And so you just dive into doing that. Obviously, things have changed schematically, how we did in the weight room culturally, all those things. And just because something's new or different doesn't make it bad. And that took some time. And that's why I go back to giving these guys credit. Those that have been here for a long time, seen a bunch of different coaches through their careers to be able to come out and have some success that you need to touch.
I think timing and fit are key, and I think Coach just mentioned the way one coach does it and the way another coach does it are going to be different. One's not bad. It's just timing and fit, right opportunity. And we were really fortunate. And God kind of brought me into Logan at the time that I needed it most, and apparently this is what the team needed. Just a different perspective and a good group of guys. We brought some key players in, I think, that helped that as well. We've just been really fortunate to be there at the right time and get the right group of guys moving in the right direction, and you see the benefit of that on the field.
Coach Anderson, obviously Oregon State has a decorated O-line up for the Joe Moore Award. How do you think you'll match their physicality up front on the offensive line?
Well, I hope we'll match well. I know that's saying a lot because we've got a tremendous amount of respect, as does everybody else, mentioning the award. You know, we're not going to overpower them. We're not built that way. We're hoping that our speed and quickness is going to be a problem for them. But it's a huge challenge, and it's going to play a big impact in the game. If we can't make them uncomfortable and slow the run game down and make the quarterback uncomfortable, it'll be a long day for us. As you watch, they've scored a lot of points against a lot of people that are built well. So we know what we're up against. But we have been able to be disruptive, and I'm hoping that we can be again. Top 5, top 3 in the country for kind of chaos style of defense, and we're going to need that to be something that we're good at tomorrow to be able to stay in this game.
Hey, coaches, Cameron Buford again, LA News Observer. I got more of a philosophical question for the both of you guys. The game that was here last night came down to, well, a lot of people would say they came down to analytics or the feel of the game. And I'm talking about going for the first down on fourth down, and kind of what you guys' philosophy is behind that, and share what you can share about that.
Yeah, all you, go ahead.
You know, I think it's, when you call the right play and it works, you look pretty smart. We do subscribe to some analytics in regards to our approach and looking at the game. Ultimately, we follow it 100% no, and so it adds to the information you're given to make decisions out there, and some of that goes to your field. You feel confident you can get something done on fourth down. Score matters, how close you are, things of that nature. So a bit of analytics on our end and a bit of field for the game.
Yeah, we're there. We do look at analytics and have for quite a while as an offensive guy, but the game and the style of play and just the matchup of the game has a lot to do with that as you go into it. I always told people to take a calculated but aggressive approach in those areas and I want to play to win. I don't want to ever come out of a game felt like I was trying to avoid the loss, if that makes sense. But each game, you may go into a game feeling really good about a matchup and find out real quickly that matchup is not in your favor like you thought, and it's going to affect the way you change. I didn't get a chance to watch the game last night, but I know Kansas City was on one side, and when you're playing an explosive offense, that can dictate how you call plays and whether or not you settle for field goals and go for it or not. And I don't know our number, but I know we've gone for fourth down a lot, offensively this year, but a lot of that to do with a new team and not sure exactly what we're capable of yet. So I think game-to-game type feel as a head coach, especially on the offensive side of the ball, has a lot to do with whether or not how closely you stay to the analytics. It tells you to go or not go. Some of it it's a gut feel after lots of years and lots of film.
Thank you, guys.
For both of you, obviously, great opportunity for these players to play in an NFL stadium. What kind of impact do you think that has on them being able to play in such a huge stage like this?
And I think it's added to their excitement, man. Again, I think Coach had his crew come through already. These guys, when they see this for the first time, it's impressive. And then even when it was announced, and they start talking about this place you're gonna play in, Super Bowl's coming in a couple of months, I mean, this is a great opportunity for them.
You consider it's the last game for a lot of guys to play in this venue. I mean, I don't know how you could finish it any better. I've never seen a more breathtaking stadium. So it'll add some juice to the game, but the emotion.
Both coaches, given the early signing period and how that's really rushed upon you guys, and on top of that, you've got an early bowl game, how was that experience?
Busy.
Chaos. Not a lot of sleep here in the last few weeks. Championship game, a week of recruit, get ready for a really good opponent, and then travel signing day. It's been chaotic, but I don't know. I'd rather have reasons for it to be chaotic than not. Definitely to play in a game, play in a championship game, to be battling in key recruiting. To me, I'd rather it be that way than the opposite. That means we're relevant. That means we're in the fight, and that gives us a chance to be good for years to come. I'm sure any coach would rather have it be that way than the other. Appreciate y'all. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.